ス兄ちゃんとお前だろ。
家庭教師頼んだのは
時に交通事故で死んでしまった。そううさぎ起きやがれ。
A student-teacher relationship slowly evolves into a romantic one, and the student is hesitant to admit his feelings for his teacher. Hello and welcome back to our channel Ice Guy. Today we are going to do a recap of the anime series called JUNJO ROMANTICA. Episode 1, Misaki Takahashi's Mitsuhashi University performance remains poor. His brother Takahiro Takahashi organizes Misaki's tutoring with the help of his weird closest companion and writer Akihiko Uzami, also known as Uzami. Upon reaching Uzami's house, Misaki finds a romance book featuring Uzami and his brother, which gives a great shock him. Furious Misaki, when confronts the writer, Uzami gets frustrated and starts to harass her. So having no choice, he decides to learn from him, and his academic performance begins to advance with time. And he develops sympathy for Uzami, who holds an unanswered crush on Takahiro. To Misaki and Uzami, Takahiro shares the news of his and Manami's engagement. Knowing that Akihiko had a strong love for his older brother, Misaki is surprised and leaves the house, using the justification that he had planned to buy more wine. Uzami grabs Akihiko's arm and drags him outside. After leaving the house, Misaki sobs alone over Takahiro's hurtful, unexpected dismissal of Akihiko. When Misaki claims that was the first time he felt like punching his brother, Akihiko smiles and chuckles a little. The manner Misaki is crying is impure, says Akihiko. In response, Misaki says that he can't stop crying once he starts, despite his best attempt. Then, Akihiko chooses to kiss Misaki to stop him from sobbing further on. With his head on Misaki's shoulder, Akihiko surrounds Misaki in his arms. It's okay to cry, Misaki tells Akihiko as he wraps around him in his arms. According to Akihiko, only Misaki would ever be allowed to see the tears he sheds. Misaki decides to make the move in with Uzami in exchange for performing housekeeping takes care of, such as laundry, dishes, cooking dinner, and cleaning when Takahiro and his wife have to make a trip to Osaka on very little notice. Despite his best efforts, Misaki is unsuccessful in properly tying his tie and buttons on his shirt in time for the university admission ceremony. Uzami notices this and starts to attempt to take off Misaki's clothes to help him mend his filthily stained attire. In an outburst of frustration, Misaki claims that he can handle it alone and that he simply hadn't been paying time and attention. Uzami replies that it won't matter if Misaki is going to be late for the ceremony, since even if they take Uzami's red sports car, it will only take them 5 minutes to get there. Uzami pulls Misaki to the sofa and gives him an innocent kiss. He advises Misaki to view the fact that Uzami has fallen in love with him as an honor. Episode 2, Misaki narrates that it has been a month since he started living with Uzami in his luxurious house. Moreover, he tells that he is kind of a true landlord who, despite being busy, never missed any luck with him. He is his brother's mate and a silent lover. Now his brother has shifted to another city with his wife. That is the only reason Misaki is living with him. After breakfast, Misaki begins to wash the utensils while saying that he would go to do laundry before going to university. But before he could wash the utensils, Uzami grabs her from behind and expresses that he is tired and he wants to get recharged by pleasing Misaki. Hence, he pulls him onto the sofa and kisses him on his face. Poor Misaki manages to get rid of him but gets unbalanced and falls, which causes his work notes to be spread. When he checks the paper, he comes to know that Uzami has written a romance novel with him. Seeing this, he goes mad and yells at him. Then he quickly tears all the pages, but Uzami shows a pen drive in which the novel is stored. However, Uzami drops Misali at his university in his red sports car. Upon getting inside the university, Misaki is avoided by all the students. When he enters his classroom, all students make groups with each other and Misaki thinks as if he is developing a school phobia. Then suddenly a fellow appears and offers to sit next to him, which prompts Misaki to think that it's the first time someone offered him company. After having the seats, the boy introduces himself as Keiichi Sumi. He tells him that all the students avoid him just because he is dropped by a renowned writer Akihiko Uzami in his imported sports car. Anyhow, he befriends him and Misaki feels pretty glad that he successfully made a friend. On the way back home, he tells Uzami that he has made a new friend who offered him a nice job. But Uzami scolds him and reminds him how bad his brother would feel about his careless attitude towards his study. Later at home, Misaki receives a call from his brother and after talking a bit, he asks to talk to Uzami. Meanwhile, Misaki thinks as if Uzami is using him as a replacement for his brother. The next day, while sitting with his friend, tells him the whole story about Uzami, and Keiichi says that he is saying his name several times, which angers him. After a while, Uzami comes to pick him up from the university, but Misaki refuses to return home with him and says that he is going with his friend and he would get up late at night, so he must go alone. Yuzami acts jealous of Misaki's new friend and his rude behavior. Yuzami admits he was jealous after their fight, after which they reunite. Yuzami ends up giving Misaki a few kisses on the lips and one on the head as a result. And when the two of them make love for the first time, Yuzami tells Misaki not to allow anyone else to touch him the same way he has. Episode 3. Hiroki Kamiju is enjoying a stroll in a park while reflecting on his failed romance with Akihiko Yuzami, his childhood love who thinks that he is the one who seduced him. When Noaki Kusama launches a toy rocket that nearly hits Hiroki, his thoughts are abruptly interrupted and he gets scared at the moment. When Noaki notices him crying out loud, he drags him over to a group of men who are gossiping with each other, and now they are gathered here to have a first look at the launch of a rocket owned by Noaki. Noaki is a foundling to Hiroki and he loved him wholeheartedly, but he never got a chance to confess his ultimate love for him. Later, Noaki makes a plan to get close to Hiroki, therefore he insists that Hiroki must be considered as his tutor for him to help him with the high school competence test so that he would get good grades. After that, a surprising visitor as Akihiko shows up there, but Noaki interrupts and professes his love for Hiroki. He tells him his true feelings to him. Moreover, he claims that as soon as he saw him, he fell in love with him and he has uncountable feelings for him which are even increasing with time. Right now, his only desire is for Hiroki to fall in love with him so that their relationship would be the best of all. Noaki is given instructions not to see Hiroki a second time as he thinks that it is not good for him when he disapproves of his feelings for her. Despite all this,
言い過ぎたか。いや、野脇はもうここへは。
it is revealed in a later scene that Hiroki has no choice but to become obsessed with Noaki and even manages to get over to the cafe next to the blooming flower store, where Noaki is successful to catch up with her, hence he has a pleasant time with her and they feels happy on it. Hiroki remains in his flat when Noaki walks in and provokes him on what he is doing. He expressed that she is not a perfect match for him as he is a pretty handsome guy, so he comes up against him. Then, Hiroki opens up about how he has an affection for Noaki and that they begin to engage in sexual activity as a result of their mutual love, which shows a strong bond between them. Both make both of their partners more conscious of their feelings of affection before the television program ends. Episode 4. Misaki discovers a new romance book written by Yuzami on his fake relationship with Misaki and he gets furious. Then he hastily goes to Yuzami's room and begins to abuse him as he is lying without a shirt in his bed. He forces him onto the bed and tries to kiss him, but before he could do, they are interrupted by Yuzami's editor Ryukawa and Misaki is saved this time. Afterwards, she gives Misaki the sweet puffs and expresses that she is feeling glad to meet him for the first time, although they had talked many times on the phone, and Yuzami shows angry behavior on it. Then she taunts him indirectly for not meeting the deadlines. As they begin to discuss the writing projects, Misaki thinks that she is even more beautiful than his imagination. However, he is touched by Yuzami upon leaving the house and he finds his heart pounding. At university, he thinks only of Yuzami and ends up getting frustrated by his thoughts. In the evening, he tells Keiichi about Yuzami's editor, and he concludes that she must be his love, which makes him seemingly upset.
な、マジないです。
なんでわかんの？
ことになるけど。先輩！
When he gets back home, he confronts Ikawa in the lift. She tells him that she had been through a great meeting with Yuazumi on his next projects. Moreover, she tells that she is truly sincere with him and this makes him worried. However, he gets inside the home, and after greeting he attempts to find out what he thinks about Ikawa, but ends up being asked by Yuzami what he truly thinks about him. In that situation, although he doesn't say anything, feels very emotional. Hence, Sami apologizes and leaves him alone. So he doubts the realness of his own emotions. Later, when Yuzami and Ikawa leave for a business meeting, Misaki, who is at home, eats chocolates that Ikawa gave him but discovers that they were filled with alcohol, which makes him feel tipsy. He falls asleep holding Yuzami's shirt close to him. Yuzami, upon returning home, sees Misaki in that state and realizes that Misaki has affection for him, even though Misaki has quite a distance to go before entirely admitting it. And that's all for today, guys. If you like the recap and want more summaries like this, consider subscribing to our channel.